Honorable Principal Ketan sir, Honorable Vice Principal Dr. Thakur sir, your beloved HOD Professor Purkar sir, and Coordinator of CESA Professor Kankar sir. And most important is my dear student brothers and sisters. Today is a day you have organized a 3-day workshop and a series of lectures for we can say enlightenment of the career opportunities in civil engineering field. Well, you must have thought something when you decided to join civil engineering field. You must have some preconceived image of a civil engineer. I have come here to change it. I have come here to change it because whatever a person thinks when he has not even taken admission in an engineering college, it is all hearsay. Somebody has said something and that's why you come and join a particular course. When you complete it and then you move in the field, then you realize, as they rightly say in Hindi, "Aate dal ka bhav pata chalta hai." So it's like that. And let's be very clear and frank, and I'll tell you that you all guys are few of the luckiest persons because you are going to be the next civil engineers of the country. None of the areas are complete without the help of civil engineers. So we are a vital cog in the development of the country. Before I proceed with the subject, I'd like to know the background from where you have come. How many of you have come from large cities? Large cities, we can say that cities which have municipal corporations. Can you please raise up your hands? Okay, I find hardly 5-6 people who have come. How many students have come from municipal level, that is town level? Okay, quite a few. And rest, are you from rural background? Okay. Lucky that we have very less people from municipal corporation limits, because there are a lot of constraints in municipal corporation limits regarding the city development. The field is very much open when we come to towns and rural areas. Have you ever thought that why our country is still regarded as the third world country? Have you ever thought? Any answers from you? Why everybody considers us as a third world country? Anybody has ever thought? Okay. The basic reason is that we lack in infrastructure, quality infrastructure. We have brains, we have means, we have natural resources, we have the youngest population in the world. What we don't have is the infrastructure. And that is one reason why nobody considers India as a developed country. We are still into the development stage, and moreover, they still consider us as the third world country. How much time it will take to change this impression? If you look at the experience of Singapore, they changed the whole scenario in 20 years. That is the only span which they took. Singapore was a part of Malaysia initially. It's the southernmost tip of Asian continent. An event happened in Malaysia that many Chinese people, they wanted to settle down in Malaysia. Malaysia is a Muslim country. The population in Malaysia is 95% Muslims. They didn't want the Chinese people to come and migrate and stay in Malaysia. All the Chinese, they actually concentrated in Singapore. Malaysians, they decided that to get rid of all these people And I'm sorry that not only Chinese, there were a lot of Tamils also in that place. So, in order to get rid of all these people, they decided to separate out Singapore from Malaysia. Singaporeans, they never demanded independence. The other way around, Malaysians, they carved a pocket and they said, okay, fine. From tomorrow you are independent country, we don't want you in Malaysia. We want to retain our own cultural identity. In this way, Singapore got created. Lot of illegal migrants had settled in Singapore in those days. The landmass of Singapore is hardly 1300 square kilometers. And the length is 47 kilometers. You can imagine what is the size of the country. I think your Tehsil is much more better, larger in size than as compared to Singapore. What they inherited from Malaysia, if you think, then one is mix of cultural races, population-wise. Second is no infrastructure, because Malaysians, when they carved out Singapore, it was not that the best part they gave. It was the least developed part which they gave. And third was no technical means, no manpower. That was the third thing which they had. Their economy, no, it is not agro-based because they don't have land for agriculture. Population density, yes, it's as high as India. They decided to increase and improve the infrastructure at the first stage. In Singapore, that was the stage when civil engineers came into picture. Whenever something concerned with infrastructure comes, role of civil engineer starts. Singaporeans, when they decided that we want to develop our country into a modern country, they never aimed at European countries. Their aim was better than European countries, and today you will find that life in Singapore is far, far, far better than European countries. Even Europeans, they now migrate and settle down in Singapore. It's an Asian country. We can ride up from India to Singapore. I've been till Burma. They didn't give us permission for crossing Burma border and going into Thailand. Otherwise, we could have driven right up to Singapore. So, as country, it was a small country. It's an island, we can say. They developed in 20 years. So I think if Indians think, they determine and decide, it will take not more than 20-25 years even for us to transform ourselves from third world country to the developed country. For us, as I earlier mentioned, that we have natural resources, we have technical manpower. Consumption of goods manufactured in India, the local consumption which they call in financial terms, that is the highest in India. Other countries, competitor for us in this aspect is only China because of the population size. The consumption of goods in India and in China, self-consumption is more because of this population size. When you say consumption of goods, the role of production comes into picture. And when the production in industries come into picture, immediately civil engineer comes into picture. Because there cannot be any industry without a civil engineer. Next, any industry to be set up, construction of an industry, that is one part. Maintenance, operations, and allied infrastructure, that is another part. The second part needs a role of a civil engineer through and through the life of the industry. So you cannot have like a civil engineer is there, he has constructed a industry, he has left the field and now there is no requirement of a civil engineer. No. Civil engineer is required till the end of the industry. Usually, I have found in all these years that one of the major mistakes which we all civil engineers commit is after we graduate out, we either concentrate on first, I think, becoming a builder because everybody wants a glamorous life. Second is easiest way out is becoming a government contractor because nowadays government has changed the policies and they have started giving registrations to civil engineers up to 50 lakh limits. It's a huge amount. In previous times it was just 5 lakhs and now they are giving to 50 lakhs. So any graduate, you just pass out, you carry your provisional mark sheet, you go to a PWD executive engineer's office, you submit your mark sheet and then they will give you a registration of a contractor, registered contractor up to 50 lakh rupees. And third, which civil engineers try to accept as a profession is government jobs. There are many aspects other than this wherein you can step into. Today's topic is town planning, and that is one of the most crucial important things which is the need of the country, need of the hour. This is having tremendous potential for all civil engineers, next generation. I think out of these all assembled students, if you think even 50% can be accommodated in town planning department. Not only government department, but there are private institutions, all private consultants, they now need town planners. It's a specialized job, so it's a part of your syllabus, but it's a specialized job. You need to have a lot of vision and deep thinking. Horizontal thinking is required by a town planner. Horizontal thinking by it means that your thinking is not restricted. You have to think beyond your scope of work. If a town planner, see, if somebody has come and said that, okay, you design the scheme for Kopargaon town, and if that person comes and says, okay, I have designed the Kopargaon town, and this is the scheme for Kopargaon town, this is a town planning scheme of Kopargaon, it won't work. By horizontal thinking, what I mean to say is, it will work only and only if you integrate the aspirations of the people, aspirations of the population in your schemes, then and then the scheme will be successful. That is why Section 23 of Maharashtra Regional Town Planning Act, it says that the process of town planning should be self-participatory. All the stakeholders should be part and parcel of the decision-making body. That is very important. Here, a civil engineer's managerial skills are tested. Nowadays, we are facing a lot of problem with the development plans and basic town planning in Maharashtra. I'm one of the government committee members, and day in and day out, I'm facing a lot of problems. Problems means, see, if you consider city-wise, who is affected by design of a city, if you think in that way? A cobbler sitting on the street side, a corporate CEO sitting in a plush office, a hotelier running a 5-star business, everybody is affected by town planning. You cannot name a single individual or single category of citizens who will say that I am not involved in town planning, it doesn't affect me. I don't think there is a single individual. That is why the role of a town planner is very important. Who can be a town planner? Basically, a town planner needs to be a civil engineer. Though a lot of architects nowadays, they are opting city planning as a career option. A lot of architects are opting. But still, the various aspects involved in town planning, they need a civil engineer's approach. Amongst all you sitting here, I want to ask you one thing. So in that case, our discussion will be two-way. What do you think, in which place where you stay, what are the lacunas from the city which you want to overcome? You think that this should be in a particular way, this is not in a particular way. I'll just give an example. Like nowadays, we read everywhere, we go and observe everywhere that the green coverage is decreasing tremendously at a very fast pace. Somebody might think that the place where I stay should be green. To maintain the ecological balance and environmental equilibrium, green coverage is important. This is what everybody might think. So, I as an individual might think that I need a green space, so I need a lot of trees. And in the stricter sense of town planning, open spaces are considered as the lungs of a city. So you breathe oxygen and you exhale carbon dioxide. In the same way, oxygen is attracted to the open spaces because there are a lot of trees and greenery maintained there. In this way, what are the aspects? If somebody can tell me a couple of aspects, then I can discuss on it. Which aspects do you think that you need to have in a city, in a proper city? Please feel very free and express yourself. Infrastructure, yes. I'll write down. Yes, anybody else? Yes? Roads. Amenities. Amenities, what do you mean by amenities? If you can give us a mic.
Hospitals, schools.
Okay.
Proper transportation.
Hospitals, schools. Okay. Who's that guy? Water supply? Yes. Very important aspect.
Drainage and sewage.
Drainage, yeah.
Wastewater treatment plant.
Wastewater plant, yes. Anybody else?
Waste management.
Waste management, yes.
Transportation.
Yes. Transportation.
Proper ventilation.
Rainwater system.
Yes.
Parking space. Parking space.
Yes. Do you stay in a congested place? Because that is one of the major issues. Very vital issue. Previously the law didn't cover parking spaces, but now we are amending the law to cover parking spaces also. That's a very vital issue. Yes?
Footpaths.
Footpaths. Please, can I know who is gentleman? Okay. Yes. Now I tell you. See, the Act of Town Planning, initially it was framed by the Britishers during their English rule. They had some preconceived opinion about how a town should be, about how a city should be. They had framed all the rules, they had framed all the plannings. They had set planning standards. All those planning standards, they were framed considering that the citizens of India will be in two different categories. One is the white people and second is we black people. Or nowadays we feel offended by calling ourselves black, so we call ourselves as brown. It was for a different set of people. In 2010 when I visited South Africa, the difference was very stark. Maybe one of the reasons is South Africans are totally black. I'll give you an example. You feel offended going to South Africa. There is a test called as pencil test. Anybody knows it about anything about pencil test? Pencil test is conducted for the children who are born, who are crossbreed, we can say. Either of the parent is white and the other is black. So the question is, whites, they claim themselves to be superior and blacks to be slaves. So a child born out of such a wedlock, whether he should be accepted in the white society or black society, that's a dilemma. And they have got a test which is called as pencil test. So from the hairs, the child is say around a year or so, they put a pencil in the hairs. If the pencil falls down, then the child is accepted in the white category. And if the pencil gets stuck up, the child is pushed into black category. Has anybody heard about a place called as Soweto in that is Cape Town? Has anybody heard about it? Place called as Soweto. This was the place from where Nelson Mandela was arrested. And, it's a Dharavi of Cape Town, you can say. And from there they transported him to Robben Island. That is some 20 nautical miles in the sea, just across the harbor. And there the difference was very stark. While I was returning back, I happened to pass through that street, and I observed for around 10 or 12 kilometers there was a huge RCC wall. Huge RCC wall. The height must be around 6 meters. The length was around 10 kilometers. So after getting down of the journey, before entering the airport, I went to the local information officer and I said, I have observed such and such thing. What is inside that RCC wall? I want to go and visit. He said, what is your flight timing? I said, it's after 3 hours. He said, no, you cannot go because you have to check in. I said, okay, give me information. He said, why you want that information? Then I asked, I said, no, I want to know what is there inside the compound. And he said, it's a black hutment colony. And that colony, from there Nelson Mandela was arrested. So the difference is too stark. We Indians are lucky that here the discrimination is not so high. We are at least a bit lucky. So the reason why I am telling you this story is the civil engineers who have planned that society, South African things, he must be a white person because he wanted to segregate and keep black population away from the white population. This is not an accepted principle in town planning. Not at all an accepted term. Town planning says that everybody should stay together. There is no discrimination in race, religion, color, no discrimination. Caste-wise, no discrimination. This is one of the basic fundamentals of town planning. That you have to design a structure, you have to design town like the bylaws are framed in such a way that there is no discrimination in the whole town planning schemes. We are now planning for eradicating the hutments and the slums. I, being a part of a subcommittee, we are working on framing the rules for redevelopment of slums. We are into that process. With this, we want to involve all the slum dwellers into the proper society. Even now, I don't think even 5% of you must have visited in a slum. We just read about slum, we just think about slum, we pass by the slum, but we never pay attention to what is going on in the slum. We are trying to redevelop it. Singapore was a country which developed it. Now they have got only one slum. And the population of it must be around 5,000 odd people. But sir, you'll be surprised. They have retained it to educate the future generations and show that this is the way in which we lived and this is the way the whole thing has been transformed. That is why they have retained the slum. It's very near to Little Italy area of Singapore, very near to it. The transformation of Singapore, as I say, that it all was done by civil engineers. Transformation of India will be done by civil engineers. Though everybody says that India is a superpower in electronics and computers and IT sector, all this is of no use if civil engineering is not developed. We need to have a lot of infrastructure for that. Infrastructure wise, if you consider IT industry, the best infrastructure available is Bengaluru, Pune and Hyderabad. Gurgaon has now come up. There is no fourth city coming up. They tried in Chennai but they failed. They tried in Nagpur, they failed. We attempted in Nasik, we failed. Because of lack of infrastructure. This aspect of infrastructure carries the most important value in all the town planning schemes and the development plans. Section 22 of the MRTP Act, it says that a town development plan or a town planning scheme, it has to be developed for some 12 parameters they have given, that these 12 criteria have to be designed and developed. And the basic thing in that is, first of all, they have categorized, the first part is categorization of available landmass. Categorization means you must have heard that this is a residential zone, this is an industrial zone, this is a commercial zone, this is an agricultural zone. So these zones, that is important. So micro planning can be done after macro planning. So the first stage of any development is, first we have to categorize into zone wise. Otherwise what will happen is, tomorrow if we develop infrastructure in a particular pocket, then later on that whole pocket is declared as a green zone. So the infrastructure will go west. So first we have to decide which are the zones in which the development, future development is there. So based on those zones, infrastructure is decided, it is developed. Basic infrastructures involves construction of roads. Road transportation is very important because if there are no roads, there cannot be any transportation. Planning of roads. Roads come under two categories. One is government roads and second are private roads. Nobody should have a landlocked property. This is what our constitution says. Even Revenue Department of Government of Maharashtra, they have now framed rules saying that anybody whose land, agricultural land or any land is landlocked, then he has got an easementary right. It comes under Rajaswa Abhiyan of the Government of Maharashtra. In this Rajaswa Abhiyan, I think tomorrow's guest lecture is by the Tehsildar, and you can ask her about Rajaswa Abhiyan, she will be able to tell you in a more way. I'll tell you in a technical way. In this Rajaswa Abhiyan, if there is a property which is landlocked, you have to apply and approach the Tehsildar and saying that my land is landlocked and I don't have any easementary road to go into my property and enjoy it. Then it becomes a prime duty of the revenue department to provide you a road. They don't provide you free of cost. They will reduce the amount of your land holding which is required for actual construction of the road, and that amount of land they distribute to the affected persons. Because whenever a new road comes, some persons are going to be affected. They are going to lose their right of that land, particular land, and then they will start raising objections. So in the Rajaswa Abhiyan, they try to take out that much equivalent amount of the land chunk from your landmass and give it to that affected person, and from him take the road area. This is the actual way of the scientific town planning. When we do development plans previously till around 1966, they were meant only for cities and towns. So that's why it was called as a town and country planning. In 1966, the government of Maharashtra